Welcome back. This video is dedicated to the boys in blue, the police who keep America safe every single day. The police, some of the most honest, respect-worthy people on the face of this planet. That's who this video is dedicated to. Before we go any further, I want to let you know what happened last night. In my life, it was very exciting for me. My mother, she came down the stairs. She went down into the basement, what I like to call my lair. For me and the boys like to play Dungeons and Dragons. Been doing it for almost 30 years strong now. But she came down there and she said, "Son, I think you're old enough to know something." And I said, "What's that, Mom?" And she goes, "I got a new word for you. You're old enough to understand this one now. That word is sarcasm." And I got to tell you, my mother blew my mind. Totally new word for me, totally new concept. And, rather than have me explain it to you, I suggest you look it up. And if you have a mother, maybe ask her about it, because mothers always explain things best. But anyway, sarcasm's just this word on my mind and big revelation for me. So I just wanted to share that with you before we get further into this dedication to the boys in blue, who are always doing a very good job protecting the mean streets of San Bernardino, California. Sort of the home of McDonald's, that city. Another great corporation that sells some of the healthiest meals on the planet, keeping America looking fit and slim and sexy. And for that, I guess I'm going to dedicate this video to McDonald's too. Why not? So anyway, if you're new here, I love to talk about important things, such as how great Big Brother... how dare I mispronounce it? Big Brother. George Orwell, he wrote that important book, 1984, about how history doesn't really matter and, rights don't really matter and how we should all just be silent and obey authority without question. Great book, words of wisdom. He calls government Big Brother. So do I. So anyway, here I like to talk about Big Brother and their ongoing agenda to help keep us safer. Safer from ourselves, safer from all the bad guys in the world, who definitely aren't the boys in blue. But anyhow, if you just pay attention to news headlines and you learn about numerology and Gematria, which is this Jewish form of numerology, which is numbers into words, if you learn about this, you'll just start to see all these coincidences. And it's amazing. All of these shootings in the media that the boys in blue keep us so safe from, they all fit this perfect pattern. It's just incredible. So, anyhow, this news about this shooting in San Bernardino, the dice game shooting, they're calling it, 8 shot during dice game at San Bernardino apartment complex. Police say. Those are the boys in blue. Blue lives matter. And boy, do they ever. But anyway, the date of this shooting was Sunday, September 2nd, 2018. And that's a date with numerology equating to 49. 9 plus 2 plus 20 plus 18, 49. If you write out the word 8 using the alphabetic order, E is the 5th letter, I is the 9th, G is the 7th, H is the 8th, T is the 20th, 8 sums to 49. There's these 4 base ciphers. Cover it really well in my book. It's all about the important coincidences you need to know about in this world. But there's these 4 base ciphers, and in the base ciphers, not only does 8 sum to 49, but so does Scottish. And if you're not aware, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is what most police are members of. About 90% of police, the boys in blue, part of that great secret society, the Scottish Rite. There's a TV show just came out on AMC called Lodge 49. You learn this code of letters and numbers, you're going to spot all sorts of coincidences and how they accidentally name their characters in that show. It's just amazing the way it all lines up. But anyway, Scottish 49 date shooting the police, who might as well be the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, they got the details of this shooting lining up nicely. Now, what else lines up nicely is how Dice Game and Policeman in the base ciphers both have values of 47 and 43. And remember where 47 comes from. 47 degrees on the Freemason compass, tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid about how to establish foundation. The word Masonic also has Gematria 43. And if you want to get cute with it, 43 in numerology is 4 plus 3 equals 7, like how G is the 7th letter. Also, 4 and 7, they have a mathematical relationship. The divisors of 4, the numbers that divide into 4, they sum to 7. Not that any of this really matters, but just for kicks, share it with you. You should also know that government equals 47, so does authority, so does news. Special number there. Sort of. This news, it also came February 9th, 2018, date with 29 numerology, plus it was 2/9, so there's sort of another 29 in there. Masonic also has Gematria 29 in the base ciphers, in addition to the 43. Just going with this Dice Game Policeman story. Paying our respects to the you-know-whos. This is the other thing I love about the news story, how they can't get their numbers straight. Isn't it funny? If only the news did their job as well as the boys in blue. 8-shot, 10-shot, which is it? Well, I noticed today that the majority of news have amended the story to 8-shot. Yesterday, a lot of sources had 10-shot, but somehow 2 less people have been shot. My guess is the boys in blue patched him up, popped those bullets right out of their body like he was the Wolverine. As good as new. Shout out to the coincidence theorists out there picking up the book. I don't know how well that's showing up, but that's about 10 new orders in the last 10 minutes. This coincidence theory is spreading. Thank you. You'll notice in the reporting, they say 8 people were shot. Hear about 10. Doesn't really matter, does it? Who cares about the facts? But they do mention the age of one of the victims, and he is 17. Coincidentally, modern masonry established in 1717, and the word mason equals 17. 17 is also the 7th prime number, the capital G, the 7th letter in the middle of the mason symbol. Again, it doesn't mean anything. The police officer. What a great name. What a great name for a great man. Police Captain Richard Lawhead. I love that. I'll let you decode that name because there's just so many standout things about it. Maybe just decode the word Masonic before you look at Richard Lawhead. But anyway, the name Richard does also have Gematria 43 and 47, like policeman and everything else we just talked about. The neighbors heard multiple gunshots, somewhere between 15 and 20. Remember, 47 is the 15th prime. 20, a number that symbolizes time as well as death. They're saying nobody's died yet, but all of these people are in critical condition in the hospital, so we might hear about some casualties later. Now, I've covered this before, 5 years strong of exposing coincidence theory, much to my mother's chagrin. But anyway, talked about this before. San Bernardino, California, with the alphabetic order, sums to 222. San Bernardino, California was established August 10th in the year 1869. That is the 222nd day of the year. And coming back to that Lodge 49 show, the Masonic order in that show is the Order of the Lynx, which sums to 222. And the first episode was called As Above, So Below, which sums to 222. Another Masonic motto, in addition to as above, so below, is order out of chaos. It's about creating the problem and then providing the solution. Just like how the police respond to all of these problems by the numbers in the news, and then they come back and tell the taxpayer, look, you don't really need that school or that after-school program or that new city proposed park. What you need are more cameras and more police officers. And thank God for that, Who needs some basketball courts or a place to go skating and hang out with your friends when you could just sit at home and know that you're safe because the boys in blue are out there. You know? Logic. It'll take you places. But anyway, San Bernardino, California, 222, established on the 222nd day of the year. Big number with the Scottish Rite, coincidentally. Another thing that pops out about San Bernardino, California is it sums to 147, like police, like Freemason. Reminding that there's 147 windows on the White House and the city named after the Freemason George Washington. Reminding that U.S. President equals 147. Reminding that President of the United States sums to 147, reminding that almost after all of these shootings in the media, the president says something or in more recent years tweets something. Not that any of it means anything. Also, from the establishment date to September 2nd, 23 days later, in the base ciphers, 8 also sums to 23. If you've ever seen that really dumb movie, The Number 23, that makes it seem like there could possibly be something greater with numbers and letters and numbers, they accidentally released that movie on February 23rd, 2/23, and Masonic has Gematria of 223, 223, the 48th prime, Freemason sums to 48, and Hebrew, in Hebrew and English, you know. Not that any of it means anything. Also, with regards to the majority of police being in Masonry, I actually asked a police officer once about this after he pulled me over. And it was funny. He said that he had just had a visitor from the Freemason Lodge across the street. And he had just given them a lecture on the significance of the number 3. But anyway, police sums to 33, Masonry sums to 33, secrecy sums to 33, Sunday sums to 33. Go figure. This shooting on a Sunday. And all this hubbub about it today, the day where we get to honor the boys in blue, it comes on September 3rd, the day leaving 119 days left in the year. And would you believe it? Fraternal Order of Police, 119. You know, those were the heroes on September 11th. Them and Rudy Giuliani. What was his name? Giuliani. George H.W. Bush. Two of the most swell men this country's ever known. You know, coincidentally, George Bush had graduated from Skull and Bones 33 years before September 11th, way back in 68. He was a bonesman, which equals 33, that Masonic order that identifies by the number 322, because obviously numbers don't mean anything. You know, I love all those coincidences from 1968, the year he graduated, 33 years before becoming president, and, 9/11 happening. It was 911 made the national emergency dialing code in 68. World Trade Center construction began. He graduated. Space Odyssey 2001 came out. The Jets won their only Super Bowl. Jets. You know. All coincidence. It's also a coincidence that from Bush's birthday to September 11th is a span of 68 days, and CIA equals 68, and his father was the head of the CIA before becoming the vice president, and then the president, and then his son the president. You know what else happened in 1968? The term conspiracy theorist was popularized. Isn't that something? You know, that was a bad year for America. MLK got it. Bobby Kennedy got it. A lot of people got it worldwide. Bad year, 68. Wonder who was behind it. So with regards to today being September 3rd, the day leaving 119 days left in the year, just a few more coincidences here. Sit tight. We're almost done. Don't shortchange the coincidence theory. Federal Gematria of 33 and 39, like Masonry, like secrecy. Isn't that something? And a lot of these secrets come from the Old Testament that's 39 books. You know, James Madison, the Mason, once upon a time made 39 proposals on a date with 39 numerology that became the 10 Bill of Rights. And when you write out 10, it equals 39, kind of like the 10 Commandments from the Old Testament of 39 books. You know. Now look, if you're watching this and you're thinking, man, I've seen that guy somewhere. It's because I'm famous. Have you guys seen that Progressive commercial from a few years ago? It was me and my good buddy Jim and my mother coming down to my lair. Have you seen that commercial? She tells me to come up and eat dinner, but we were in the middle of cracking some codes. And if you go back and watch that commercial, there's this cool little jingle we came up with. Lively Little Locksmith. You remember that one? Lively Little Locksmith? Progressive thought it would be cool to feature me, this conspiracy theorist. And look at that. Look at this jingle we came up with. Aren't we clever? Conspiracy Theorist 93, Lively Little Locksmith 93. Aren't we something? Some people think conspiracy theorists just promote propaganda. Another 93 word. And if you thought we were done with the Lively Little Locksmith riddles, notice the 123 as well. Just when you flip the alphabetic order around, just like conspiracy. Go try writing out Freemason and conspiracy at Gematria.com, the best resource on the web for detecting this nonsensical language. You will have your mind blowing. So, one more time, want to thank the boys in blue, the federal government for keeping us safe. Want to thank you, the news media, for getting out all of this important information every day. Hopefully in the near future, we'll all be disarmed and just Big Brother can have the guns, because then we know we'll be absolutely safe. The Second Amendment, totally overrated. There's no such thing as tyranny. My mother also taught me that last night when she taught me the word sarcasm. So, we'll leave it there. We'll probably be back sooner than you expect. Until next time.